This is VOA News. I'm Marissa Melton. New York's governor is calling on the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to allow private laboratories to do coronavirus testing to meet demand. AP correspondent Julie Walker reports.
New York State now has more than 100 cases of coronavirus, with at least a dozen in the city. And Governor Andrew Cuomo says there's no way to test all those who may want it or even warrant it without private labs.
CDC, wake up. Let the states test, let private labs test. Let's increase as quickly as possible our testing capacity so we identify the positive people, so we can isolate them, and we're successful in our containment.
Cuomo also wants the CDC to authorize automated testing, which he says would increase capacity as much as 2,000 tests a day. Julie Walker, New York.
Chinese officials say 10 people have died in the collapse of a hotel in the city of Quanzhou. State media said the place was being used to quarantine people under observation for possible coronavirus infection. The hotel began to collapse on Saturday evening. At last report, authorities had retrieved 10 people who were confirmed dead and 38 survivors who are now being treated in hospitals. Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte has declared travel restrictions for the entire Lombardy region and 14 other provinces after a dramatic spike in coronavirus cases on Saturday. The restrictions affect millions of Italians. Italy has now recorded 5,883 cases and 233 deaths. It's the most fatalities outside mainland China and the biggest outbreak in Europe. And Egypt is rushing to protect its tourism sector after an outbreak of the coronavirus on a cruise ship on the Nile. You're listening to VOA News. The U.S. military has confirmed to VOA that one of AlShabaab's top leaders in Somalia was likely killed in a drone strike last month. Tommy McNeil has more.
U.S. Africa Command spokesman Colonel Chris Carnes told VOA that it is believed that Bashir Mohammed Mahmoud, a.k.a. Bashir Korgab, was killed in a U.S. airstrike on February 22nd. The strike occurred in a town in Middle Juba region. Korgab was one of the most battle-hardened al-Shabaab commanders of the group's military. Most recently, he commanded 3 al-Shabaab units, 2 of which are operating in Kenya. Tommy McNeil, VOA News, Washington.
Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders have each picked up significant endorsements for their presidential bids this weekend. AP correspondent Ben Thomas has that story.
I have decided that I am, with great enthusiasm, going to endorse Joe Biden.
Senator Kamala Harris joins a cluster of one-time rivals for the nomination, posting a video statement Sunday.
We need a leader who really does care about the people and who can therefore unify the people. And I believe Joe can do that.
I stand with Bernie Sanders today.
But at a rally in Grand Rapids, Michigan, Bernie Sanders picked up his own endorsement from the Reverend Jesse Jackson.
He's never lost his taste for justice for the people.
And Sanders tells ABC's This Week he's not surprised to see the Democratic establishment rallying around Biden.
But we are winning the support of grassroots America because we have an agenda that speaks to working people.
I'm Ben Thomas.
The number of female lawmakers in the world has more than doubled since a groundbreaking World Conference on Women in Beijing 25 years ago. Lisa Schlein has more.
While female representation in national parliaments has increased, gender parity remains a distant dream. However, significant changes have occurred. In 1995, the top-ranked country in terms of female members of parliament was Sweden, followed by other Nordic and developed countries. This year, Rwanda, with more than 60% female MPs, beat 171 other countries for the top spot, followed by Cuba, Bolivia, and United Arab Emirates. Sweden has been bumped down to 7th position. The Interparliamentary Union finds countries in the Americas have made the most progress in terms of representation of women in parliament, followed by Europe, Sub-Saharan Africa, the Middle East and North Africa and Asia. Lisa Schlein for VOA News, Geneva.
Women around the world are marking International Women's Day with marches to raise awareness of discrimination against women. People have been marking March 8th as a special day for women for more than a century. I'm Marissa Melton. You're listening to VOA News.